As we start to deepen our understanding of breath in our body, it's important to talk about why we're talking so much about breath. And the main point is the biggest takeaway is the more we can target intentional supported breath, the more we can help control pressure throughout the body. And as we control pressure with supported breath, we start to minimize and reduce dysfunction in the pelvic floor. As we continue to build out a really strong foundation with our breath, we start to get to layer onto that foundation functional tools that then become a part of our daily life. So, the reason that we're talking so much about breath is because without breath, we are wholly unsupported in life and in movement. So, once we start to add in that knowledge, that awareness, that connectivity to our breath, then we can start to build on that and truly create support in our body throughout our daily life, not just in exercise, but truly in how we move, period. How we get out of bed, how we carry our kids, how we sit in a chair, how we drive our car, how we do any given thing can all be drastically changed just by the way that we breathe. So, once again, please join me. Have a seat in a comfortable position. Find your sit bones on the floor. See if you can negotiate some of that tension out of your body. And then, without thinking about it, without being strategic about it, I just want you to take a breath. Big inhale, big exhale. And then we'll take a targeted, strategic diaphragmatic breath. Big inhale, diaphragm and pelvic floor expand and release. Big exhale to contract and support. And of course, as we've talked about, that exhale, that contraction, that support of the abdominal wall means core engagement. And that's what's going to transfer us just from the concept of breathing into breathing with support in movement. So let's do that one more time. Big belly inhale. Active exhale. Diaphragm lifts, pelvic floor lifts, core is engaged. There's one visual I want you to start to think about with those active exhales, and it happens right in between your frontal hip points. So those bony points right at the front of your pelvis, locate those bones. And then your exhales are going to actively come laterally in that space between the two hip points. So same as before, activating through diaphragm and pelvic floor, and then we just layer on a deep layer for your transverse abdominis. So big belly inhale. Exhale, diaphragm and pelvic floor lift. And I want you to imagine closing that gap between your hip points. Let's do that again. Big belly inhale, expand, release everything. Exhale, lift and lift. And close across the front. So that's how we start to stabilize our body using our breath to support our spine and our pelvis. So once you can start to take that active breath support, that active engagement of your transverse abdominis and translate that into your movements, the more you can start to build foundationally on that really strong breath support and support your body as you begin to move in various different ways. So just as an example, one last time, we're going to use that breath just to get up from a seated position. So without breath, as we move, we actually leave a lot of our body open to being compromised, not just as far as injury is concerned. It doesn't have to be that drastic. It's just open to compromised movement, which inevitably leads to dysfunction. So let's use that breath. We're just going to switch our position from seated to all fours, and we're going to use the breath to get us there in a supported way. Big belly inhale. Active exhale, lift, lift, and close. Ready? Let's do it. And what that should do for you is make it feel lighter in the body as you're shifting your positions. Less strain on the back, less requirement of the shoulders and the hips, more support from the core. Let's do it from all fours back to a seated position. Big belly inhale here. Lift diaphragm, lift pelvic floor, close hip points. Here we go. I don't know about you, but I felt a lot more control shifting from all fours back to a seated position. I didn't feel like I was as clunky or heavy on the floor. And I feel like I was able to transition positions with a lot less shock response on my joints. So if you didn't get that sensation, that's okay. I've been doing this forever and ever. It's going to take some time in your body, but practice it a couple more times. Practice using the exhale to move from seated to all fours and back from all fours to a seated position. Start to get that in your body, and over time, you're going to start to feel a really big difference. And as always, as that starts to normalize, we continue to build, and we continue to build really integral foundational strength that will support you from now, I promise, until forever.